Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third workshop for the AI Agents Trading Hackathon, the Autonomous Apes Hackathon. Today's workshop will be run by Lit Protocol, who will talk to you about their technology and their Vincent AI agent. But before we get into the workshop, I've just got two things really quickly to say. One is, I've said this before, but all workshops are recorded and are made available on the Hackerpack. The second and the more exciting announcement is that IO.net have just announced that they will be offering $1,500 worth of credit to the top 10 winners in the trading competition. So that's $1,500 split into 10 for the top 10 performing agents. So it's always great to see more money in the prize pool, and I'll update that so everybody can see that in the Hackerpack very shortly. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Lit speaker Chris Cassano up to the stage, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing his talk.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, everybody. Cool. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here and give you an intro into Vincent, which is our, it's essentially like you can use it as a wallet for agents, where what the agent can do with the wallet is very strictly defined by the user. So just to get everyone started here, basically we have this Vincent SDK. You can make tools. So an example of a tool would be a Uniswap tool that lets you swap on Uniswap, or an Aave tool that lets you, lend and stuff on Aave. And then you can have policies. So policies are things like, you can only send to these whitelisted addresses, or you can only spend a certain amount of money per day. And what we are really excited about is people building apps with this, and then also people building more tools. Right now, we only have a few tools. We have a Uniswap tool, an Aave tool, and I think an ERC20 send tool. And then for policies, we have a maximum daily spend policy, and an address whitelist policy. So that's what we have right now, but it's pretty easy to make tools and policies. So I will go ahead and go through what that is. I guess I probably should give like a good example of what you would build with Vincent and what you can build with it, maybe before I dive into the tools. So yeah, like I said, the idea is that you have some agent or some LLM, some AI app, and you're a developer that's working on that app for this hackathon, and then you want to be able to make transactions on behalf of users. And the way that works basically is you create a Vincent app, you define what tools it's allowed to use, and you define what policies the app supports and tools support. And then the user goes through a flow, very similar. Let's see if I can find a picture or a screenshot here. Yeah, I don't think we have a screenshot, but they go through a flow very similar to like an OAuth flow. So if you've ever done like sign in with Google, for example, you get that screen where it's like, this app wants to use your Google account. They want to use your calendar. Do you want to accept it? We have something very similar with Vincent, where you create your app, you define your tools and policies, right? So let's say, you're allowed to use the Uniswap tool with a maximum daily spend policy. Then the user would see a screen that's very similar to the Google OAuth screen, except it's like, hey, this Vincent app wants to use your wallet. Here's what it can do. It can use the Uniswap tool, and that tool supports a maximum daily spend policy. And you click authorize to get in, and that's available at the Hey Vincent .ai website. Um, Once you like put an app into into Vincent, so um, that's kind of what you can do with Vincent is you can basically use people's wallets in a way where they can restrict how they can be used. They can scope like exactly what tools can be used and put in whatever restrictions are desired. So um, that's why you'd want to make a Vincent app. Just to give you some ideas for inspiration. Like you can have an app that like does research on what coins to buy and then buys those coins. You could have an app that does dollar cost averaging. You could have an app that um, does various automation things like you could do like stop loss orders and take profit orders on Uniswap because you can, just pull um, the price, and when the price hits what it's supposed to be, you just like do the swap. So like those are some good examples of I think that the types of automations that you can do with Vincent, but it's meant to be as permissionless as possible and like really powerful, so you can build whatever you want with it. Um, Also, I probably should explain what lit protocol is briefly too. Uh, so Vincent is built on top of lit protocol. Um, just go to the website so you guys can see. But yeah, the lit protocol is a decentralized key management network. So we use threshold cryptography, uh, which is basically lets you create a wallet with a network of lit nodes, and none of the nodes actually ever know the private key. Instead, they only have a piece of the key. And the way that the threshold part works is that um, as long as 2/3 of the nodes, uh, agree that you should be allowed to use a given key, they all participate, and you, as the user, collect signature or decryption shares from the nodes, um, and then you can create transactions. So the lit network can sign for you, so you can create transactions, and it can also encrypt and decrypt. So you can upload some data and create whatever access control condition you want. Like you could say, only let people decrypt this document if they like hold this NFT, or if they, you know, are staking on this protocol, like whatever you want to do. Um, so those are the two main things that Lit does is signing and encryption. Where the key isn't held by some third party, it's held by a network of node operators that nobody actually knows the keys. So it's like kind of like a public utility uh, for signing and encryption. And then Vincent is built on top of that. Um, so the idea is that like, okay, you have this network that can hold keys and sign things. Let's make this framework that lets people in a very permissioned way delegate usage of their wallet to other people. So that's what Lit is, and Vincent's built on top of it, and then you can create Vincent apps to use people's wallets uh, in permissioned ways. So um, with that said, I think we should jump in to um, like making Vincent tools and talk a little bit about what they are and how they work. Um, so first of all, like we have this starter template here. Um, I think I think a lot of this stuff is linked like in a resources page, but if it's not, I can provide all the links. Um, but the idea with the starter template is that you can git clone this, and you can actually ask an LLM like, hey, um, you know, let's add a tool for morpho or add a tool for, compound or whatever. Um, and because there's an existing tool in here, I think there's two tools in here, uh, or actually, sorry, one tool and one policy. The LLM can, yeah, the native send tool and the ERC20 transfer. The LLM can use those as a reference, and it's like pretty good at building tools. Like I wouldn't say it can necessarily one shot it, but it'll get you 90% of the way there. And there's some information on this as well. But um, what I generally would do is clone this repo, and then either ask the LLM or start making the tool yourself. Um, so what are Vincent tools? uh, Vincent tools are essentially lit actions. And so what that means is like it's some JavaScript that you upload to IPFS, to make it immutable. And then uh, you basically tell lit protocol, hey, like this given wallet is allowed to use this tool and is allowed to run um, this JavaScript code and use the wallet with this JavaScript code. And so it's like Vincent is essentially a framework to like um, standardize that flow of giving permissioned access to certain pieces of JavaScript code to use wallets that are stored in lit protocol. So let's look at a tool. A tool has two parts. A pre-check. The pre-check will run fully locally, and the idea is that you can like do things like estimate gas, check your parameters, etc., um, before you actually send it over to the lit protocol, as a lit action to actually do it. So this sort of saves you, needing to send it over to lit and then getting back a response that's like, oh, like transaction would revert. Instead, you can check it locally and pre-check, and then execute is that actually runs whatever your tool is. um, and typically you will sign something like a transaction or an EIP 712 message or something, within the execute function. So uh, yeah, just to take a look at this one, um, we have this nice create Vincent tool wrapper, that you import from the Vincent tool SDK. And then you define all of your schemas. What are the params that you're going to use? um, the pre-check success and fail, the execute success and fail. And then you define your functions. So like here's pre-check. um, this is an ERC20 transfer tool, so it's going to check like, you know is the recipient address legit? Is the amount, you know, the actual number, non-zero? Um, all of just like the really basic stuff, like check if they supplied an RPC URL and if that's an actual URL. Uh, and then you have the execute function here. And so this will actually like craft the transaction, um, connects to a real chain, um, and then right in here, yeah. So it's like a lot of setup, right? Get the token amount, parse it, um, do the gas estimation, and I'm looking for the part where it actually executes the transaction. Yeah, then we check, do they have, a high enough balance to actually do the transfer, right? And you can the function, by the way, like comes with some built-ins like a succeed, fail. This delegation has information about the auth user, and the policies context has information about the policies that are going to be applied or can be applied. Um, and so you can return, succeed or fail. And, in this example, like we return fail with various error conditions. And so that'll all get bubbled up back to your app, potentially to your user if you want to show it to them. But yeah, let me show you where we actually make the transaction. So we, define all of the parameters of the transaction here, like, and then we use this contract call helper where we pass, this thing in. What's the function that we want to run? What's the API? What's the contract address? What chain? And you want to give it an ethers provider that's hooked up to the RPC that you need. And then, it will actually sign the transaction. And I think it broadcasts it too. It definitely does broadcast it too. However, it does not wait for confirmation. You just get the TX hash back. And so it's up to you in your app. Like typically, this will get returned as a success criteria. It's up to you in your app to like wait for confirmation of this. If you're gonna like do something afterwards or something like that. So that's like a very basic Vincent tool. Just in like a code example, this is a send tool. We also have this Aave tool that just does supply, borrow, repay, and withdraw. This one was it was like almost fully one-shotted by Claude Code. The tool itself was basically perfect. I just had to modify the tests so that it could actually test it properly. And yeah, all of these, like any new tool repo that you make, whether you clone this one or this other one, they all have an end-to-end test suite where you can just use this where there's like a lot of setup done for you. Like we like mint a PKP, which is a wallet stored in lit for your user. We like set up the application. We like approve the application for the user. Permit app version that basically says like, hey, this app is allowed to use this user's wallet. And a PKP stands for programmable key pair. That's just a wallet held by lit. And so you have to ask the lit network to sign with that whenever you want to use it. Okay, so yeah, just to go through the test example here really quick. To show you like how to call it. So in this case, we wrapped the pre-check and execute functions here into these little pre-check and execute things. But essentially, you create so like this native send tool client. You create your send tool using this get Vincent tool client function that's built into the Vincent SDK. You include your bundled Vincent tool, which is imported. And there's built-in commands in the starter repo like npm run Vincent build that will bundle it, build it, deploy it to IPFS, and give you this bundled Vincent tool. You need to bundle it so that it can run as a lit action on the lit protocol nodes. But yeah, so this is how you create the tool client, right? Pretty simple. And then you use it with the execute, the dot precheck and the dot execute functions. So you got your params here that just get passed in. And this will pop up in the Vincent tool itself. And so I think this is the native send tool. Yeah. So like this, when you call this with these parameters, like dot precheck or execute, the code that actually executes is this Vincent tool right here. The precheck, right, will run this code, and execute will run this code. And so So that's basically how you actually use it within a test. Um, and yeah, it's relatively simple. You define your params, schema, right? Like what does the tool do, and what parameters does it have? Just to give you a quick example of that, um, like I have an Aave tool here, um, and yeah, it has these various parameters, um, like yeah, here you go, operation, asset, amount, chain. So like this is an example of like some types of different types of parameters that you'd want to put. It just depends on what your tool is actually doing. Um, so yeah, so like if you want to make a Vincent tool, I would clone this repo, um, you know, make a new tool, like copy one of these probably and modify it, or ask the LLM to do that. Um, and then you will have a new capability that you can use within Vincent for your users. So like you might want to add a DApp that doesn't exist, like we don't have a tool for yet. There's like a lot of things you could do with it, but that's probably the main thing you'd want to do is like if you wanted to automate like um, usage of some DeFi protocol, or like maybe you want to automate integrating two DeFi protocols. You can you can easily do that by creating a tool for each, and then um, creating a Vincent app that uses the tools, and then your app can can use both of those apps as needed. I'm just gonna briefly pause and just take a look at the chat here. Yeah, for sure. The docs. So the docs are here. Docs.heyvincent.ai. I'll post that in here. Um, and so yeah, that's where you can get the docs. Um, and then I want to go over policies briefly as well. Uh, so yeah, the idea of a policy is that yeah, programmable guardrail is a good way to put it. A policy is also a lit action, so it's also just like JavaScript code. Um, you are allowed to use fetch inside of lit actions, so you can pull data from anywhere, on chain, off chain, wherever you want. Um, and policies support like statefulness if you want. I mean, it's up to you to um, decide where to store that state, for example. But like we have a max daily spend limit policy that essentially every time you try to make a transaction, uh, it will try to figure out the value of that transaction. So like if you're doing a swap on Uniswap between two tokens, the spend limit policy will figure out like, okay, what's the USD value of that? And then we have a smart contract we use for tracking that. And the user sets a limit, right? Like $100 a day. Every time they make a transaction, we convert that to USD and then stick that, an entry in that smart contract to say, oh, they spent $10, and then if they go over the limit or would go over the limit, the policy will fail, um, and the tool execution will stop, return an error, and the transaction won't happen. So that's like the goal of policies basically is to give the users more control over um, like how their money can be used. So you have a tool which is like add a DApp, add a smart contract. Um, you can make tools that can do anything, like because they can fetch and they run JavaScript. So you could have a tool that sends an HTTP request somewhere. Like it doesn't just have to be signing, but typically that's what people do with it. And then you could have policies that, yeah, like there's some really good examples here. Token allow lists. You could do like a multi-sig, like kind of like a safe type thing, like safe wallet. Um, yeah, you could do time-based restrictions. Can't use this tool during Shabbat or whatever that thing is where the can't work on Sundays. And yeah, various stuff like rate limiting. I mean, there's a lot you could do, right? Yeah, geo IP, like, and the idea is that the policy has all policies have parameters, um, and they're defined by the user per user. So, like a good example, obviously, is if it's a daily spend limit, a parameter is how much can you spend per day? Uh, and yeah, it's very similar to tools. You have three stages here, though. Pre-check, again, this runs offline on whatever machine you're using. Evaluate, this actually runs in the lit action environment on the lit nodes. And then if you want to mutate something, like let's say you want to update in a contract, the user spent $10 because you are tracking their spend limit, um, to enforce a max daily spend. Uh, there's a commit phase where you could say, yeah, like this definitely happened. Let's write it to chain, and it happens after the policies have been checked, right? Because like if you have like four policies, right, and you don't want to like check, oh, the spending limit policy is good, and like update that they spent $10. It's like another policy right after that one is going to fail, and you're actually not going to spend the money. So that's the point of the commit phase. Um, and yeah, very similar to the tools, we have this create Vincent policy helper. You give it like a whole bunch of various schemas. By the way, all the schemas are um, Zod schemas. So I'll just show you a really quick example of that. And there's like I said, this is in all of the starter repos. Is like there's examples of all this, um, so you can see. But uh, yeah, you have for a tool you have like pre-check these various schemas. Um, I should show you a policy because that's what we're discussing right now. And so yeah, here's the schemas for a what does this policy do? Send counter limit. So this is just very simple, right? It's like you can only make n max sends over n time window. This is just an example policy to to get you started. This one's probably not that useful, um, but uh, yeah. So you have all of your schemas here, like when we're going to do a commit, a pre-check, you know, pre-check deny. So like the pre-check failed, um, the evaluation, and then the commit. Um, and that's how you create these various schemas here, uh, like all these. And then, yeah, you define your pre-check function. Like you'd actually put your pre-check code in here, evaluate, code goes in here, and commit, you know, same kind of thing. And you get past like the tool params, which is like for example, if you're doing a swap on Uniswap and the Uniswap tool is running, the tool params would be like what's getting passed to the Uniswap tool, like, oh, they're swapping from this to this or whatever. The user params are the parameters that the user has defined, right? Like, um, for example, uh, you can only spend $100 a day, right? And so then in here, you know, you would look at the tool params, look at the user params, and make your, I guess, in pre-check or evaluate, make your decision about whether or not um, that's something that that you want to actually do, like if the policy should execute or not. Okay, just gonna turn on do not disturb here. Cool. So um, that's like basically how policies work. And yeah, I'll just show you briefly the example max spend policy, just so you can see how it works. So you got pre-check in here, um, and yeah, we pull out the user parameters, max sends, um, and this is important. This is the auth user. So that if you need to know the user's identity, like you need to look up like, yeah, like for example, we have a check send limit that uses the user's identity. Um, you know, it says how many max sends has the user defined as their limit in their params over what time window. Um, and then, you know, we make a decision based on that. Um, and this is pre-check. I think that execute probably has very similar logic. Um, yeah, pre-check generally will just have like more checking of parameters, etc. Um, and so this is yeah, this is the actual evaluate. We do the same thing. We check the send limit um, and return deny or allow. Uh, and so this is how you can add policies. So you can add all kinds of policies. Some policies that like I want people to build are um, like human in the loop policy, for example, like get a text message and you can make a decision about if you want the transaction to go through or not. Um, but yeah, there's all kinds of crazy policies you could make. It's really up to you. Um, okay, let's see. Yeah, so the GitHub repo link, yes. So this one is probably your best bet to start with, the Vincent tool and policy starter template. You can just git clone this. Um, if you want, you could also use this, which essentially just like makes like it git clones this repo for you. Basically, it like asks you a couple questions though, like where do you want to put this? But you can just git clone it. That's probably the easiest. So I'll link that in the chat. Um, so that's your going to be your best bet for getting started. And then in case you want an example of another tool, this is one that I had Claude Code write for me. And yeah, it does work on Sepolia, so I'll link that as well. So you can see how that works. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should go through, or if we should go to questions. Yeah, I guess I really focused a lot on tools and policies, um, which is very cool, right? But I think there's an important question of like, how do you actually get this in a user's hands, right? Like um, like all these examples, it's really only utilized in a end-to-end test script, right? Like here, that actually this is an end-to-end test script of the Aave tool, for example, that will supply, borrow, repay, withdraw. Um, yeah, like here's the supply operation, for example. But how do you get this into the hands of a real user? So if once you have a tool, like you could, like I said, you can either use one that already exists. By the way, this is the core Vincent repo. Probably good to link this as well. This has the SDK, the tool and policy SDK, and just like a lot of really useful. I mean, I guess this is where all the Vincent stuff lives. So might be useful for reference. Um, and yeah, what I was going to show you in here is I forgot what I was going to show you in here. Sorry. Oh, yes. Yes. How do you actually use a Vincent, or like make a Vincent app, for example? Um, so yeah, this is the Vincent repo. You make a Vincent app uh, through there's a guide, so that's useful. And we're still in development with it. So just a heads up, like we probably will have to do a like a purge of some of the apps in the future. We'll let everyone know before we do that, but it'll just be like an upgrade process because we're going to deploy some new registry contracts. Um, so yeah, that's just a heads up there. It won't necessarily persist forever because it's not finalized yet. But yeah, you use the Vincent app dashboard to actually make an app. So like this is an app that I made a while ago. Uh, but yeah, you give it a name, description. Um, so you need to define what tools the app can use and what policies. These IPFS CIDs, these can actually come from the the bundled Vincent app. Um, it's like exported somewhere. I don't actually know where. Um, and yeah, I guess that would be like a pretty critical thing. But you need the so you create your tool, you run Vincent build that will build and deploy the tool. Um, and you get this bundled Vincent tool. I think it is yeah, I think you can get the IPFS CID from the yes, from the bundled Vincent tool. Uh, so you can just print it in your tests. Um, and like in this example, it's Aave tool.ipfscid, and we just imported Aave tool from the bundle that's automatically built when you run Vincent build. So that's where you get the IPFS CID. Um, and you can just put that in here, right? Like, okay, this app is going to use Aave, so I'm going to put the Aave IPFS CID. And this is like a little bit like tough to do right now, right? You're like copy and pasting IPFS CIDs around. We're working on a big fix for this and a big upgrade to this app registry that will include like a tool registry as well soon. And so, you would be able to like just have a drop down here and pick like, oh yeah, I want the Uniswap tool or whatever. And that's what that message up here about like, you know, it's still in development is about because we're gonna make this like a lot easier. Like you could actually see what the tool is and what it does. It'll have a description and a lot of stuff like that. So this is how you make a Vincent app. Uh, here's one I made a while ago just to show you um, what the app management page looks like. Um, what you get here uh, is a app URL. Um, and I don't know if this works, but yeah, what you get is a URL. Like this is an old app, so I'm not sure this is going to work, but um, you get a link. I'll try this. Oh, actually, I think this will work. Okay, so kind of hard to see here because the link didn't show the full thing, but this is the consent link. So basically, you go to your dashboard, you make your app, get it all running and stuff. Um, generate app URL, copy this. Um, this is not the thing being copied, I guess. Um, and uh, and then you can give this to anyone in the world. Um, and what they will do is um, they will be able to auth here using email, phone, passkey. This will give them a wallet. So I'll sign in with the passkey. Um, and then, so this is a wallet that's held by Lit Protocol as a PKP. I already installed this app, but this is what the page would look like if I hadn't installed the app. And like I was saying, this is very similar to Google's or any OAuth flow. So the idea is like, you know, this app wants to use your agent wallet, um, and here are the tools it can use, and this tool, for example, has a policy with a parameter. Again, like this is all IPFS CIDs, so it's like very hard to use this, and that's what we're fixing pretty soon with the registry update. Uh, so yeah, like I can spend this much a day, whatever, and here's my wallet. I can do approve, and it will actually like put everything on chain to basically say, okay, this app is allowed to use my wallet now, only using the tools that it has. And yeah, this is 404ing because this is an old app that I took down, but I just wanted to show you an example of that consent screen. And then I feel like I should also show you briefly, like, actually, one more thing, I guess. Yeah, once you have made your app, right, and a user has consented to use it or approved it or whatever, how do you actually use it? You have to set up a delegatee, and so this is just a presumably you're going to run your apps somewhere, like on some server, and you need a way to auth with lit from that server to say like, yeah, I am this app and I want to use this user's wallet. Um, and so you can just create a yeah, I think they have a button here to do it. Yeah, it's just an ETH wallet, and the idea is that like this private key, for example, would be on your app server somewhere, like as an environment variable or something like that, so that uh, you can actually auth with lit, and you're allowed to use, like, your app is allowed to use users wallets within the tools and policies that have been authorized. And then yeah, you can change your tools and policies, you know pretty pretty simple. You'll publish a new version. Users will have to consent to the new version. That's like a big piece of a lot of this, is the sort of immutability, similar to like smart contracts on Ethereum and places like that. If you say like, I want this app to be able to use my money with only these tools, like if the app changes what it's going to do or what tools it wants to use, the user has to um, approve that because it's a new version. And then I want to show you the one more screen here. So this is, it's like you're a user, right? You like installed an app or something, right? In Vincent. Um, how do you actually like manage your money in that wallet that the app is going to use in that PKP? Um, so this is like a pretty simple page that gives you, here's your wallet address. You can check your balance and look at the block explorer. You can also use Wallet Connect, which is pretty nice. So if you like, like let's say you're making a Vincent app that does uh, like, I don't know, stakes ETH for people or something, right? Um, and you want to, swap into ETH manually before you test your app. um, you can use Wallet Connect to go to use any other DApp with the same wallet that the Vincent app will be allowed to use. So you can use this to like stage things or set things up. You can use it for withdrawing, right? So like the Vincent app is has you uh, supplying on Aave, and you know like the Vincent app, like let's say like disappears, for example, like they don't maintain it or something, you always have access like to your assets through Wallet Connect and through this page. Like that's a really key thing about our delegation system, is the money never leaves your wallet. You're really just giving permissions for other people, for a Vincent app to use your wallet as needed. Um, cool. Okay. So yeah, I would love to pause and see if there's any questions. And also like just let everyone know we're available like on Discord and I don't know wherever they said to contact us, but we'll be available to help with some of this. Um, some of this stuff is like relatively new and early, but it should all be working and relatively bug free. So um, yeah, I guess happy to answer any questions or go deeper into any area of this. Maybe we're good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. So while people are typing up their questions, if they have any, I've sort of got one for you. And I was wondering, um, what's the most sort of creative use of Vincent that you've seen recently? And sort of maybe as a follow up, um, what sort of thing are you looking for from the hackers? Is there anything that you guys really want to see during this hackathon?
That's a great question. Um, so it's very early. There aren't really like a lot of Vincent apps yet. We're really like building up the tools and policies and stuff right now. Uh, I think there's been like a few different prototypes. I don't think we've shipped anything, but um, some really interesting stuff around like deciding which meme coins to buy and then doing that. We have a DCA app. There's one actually that I worked on that I never finished, which is this Quant Connect trader. Quant Connect is a quant platform, like where essentially you can put in strategies, run back tests, trade with it. Uh, and so, the idea here was to have a LLM, like some kind of agent, find strategies, test them with Quant Connect, like back test them, and then uh, trade for users using those strategies. Um, so there's a lot of really interesting like stuff that you can do. I think the mental space to get into is like delegation, basically like I think delegation and automation, right? Like, what are things in crypto that are manual and annoying that you have to do all the time, um, and that you would love it if there was some service that would just do it for you. I think is a really good like with your wallet, but like without you having to send them your money, for example, so they can they can't rug you. Um, that type of thing I think is really interesting. Uh, yeah, I think those are some pretty good examples.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, I think we've got one from Samar in the chat, possibly sort of asking about common difficulties or things that people might run into. Like when you were building your first sort of Vincent app, what was the biggest pain point for you?
Yeah, I can totally tell you. That I built this Aave tool, like I said, with an LLM, um, and the LLM actually like one-shotted the tool itself. But the testing framework was a bit of a pain to set up. So I do recommend like using our example framework. The you know the example framework that we provide uh, doesn't make transactions on uh, or I guess it doesn't support Sepolia. So like it was a bit of a pain to like get the test framework to support Sepolia, but the Aave one does support Sepolia for testing and stuff. And just like the biggest pain point really was like staging everything, like getting you know WETH into the wallet and making sure that the wallets all have gas, etc. Uh, I think like what you're likely to run into is probably like confusion a little bit about like how some of the parts fit together. So definitely check out the docs and hit us up if you get confused about anything at all. Like I didn't have that problem because I helped build this. Um, but yeah, actually I'll tell you the biggest pain point for sure. Um, is really just like blockchains and debugging, like, get this whole thing working, right? It's making transactions, and you get back like revert error 35, and it's like what does that mean, right? You have to so a tip there, and this is not even like a lit protocol thing, but just a blockchain development tip that is great for you guys as hackers is to use something like Tenderly. If you guys have never seen it, it's just like uh, it has a transaction simulator, um, and so you can just drop a transaction into here, um, and then it will actually I can show you one right here. Yeah, it'll actually like show you the line that it failed. Um, like and like without this degree of debugging, I think when you're writing blockchain stuff, dApps, smart contracts, lit actions, Vincent apps and tools, uh, it's just like a nightmare because like what does error message 35 mean? But you can actually go and figure it out if you use something like Tenderly. There's a lot of different services that do this as well.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. That's a really good tip. So yeah, everybody, check that out. Okay, so if that's it on the question front, then I think we'll end the workshop here. Yeah, thanks, Chris. A really good workshop. And yeah, guys, if check out the Encode Discord, because we've got all the Encode team. The lit team are on there. You can tag them as a lit team. It should be easy to find, and you can get help from all the experts that are partnering with this hackathon. So yeah, thanks very much, Chris, and I'll see the rest of you. There are office hours tomorrow, and otherwise for the workshops next week. All right, great. Cheers.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Blake. Have a good one.
Bye.